In 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
All right. If I had my sound drops and everything, I would give myself one of those, but I'm not. So welcome in everybody. Joe Quills here with you on this Tuesday night edition of the show. Um, just a little discombobulated tonight. Um, things happen. Made a late run to the store today because I did not do a damn thing today at work since I was off from work. So just a lazy day for yours truly, and just relaxing and getting some things done that um, were um, uh, not work related, just leisure stuff, just having fun. So my mind is all over the place right now. So I mean, that's not a bad thing. Sometimes you have those you have the bad thoughts all over the place, but probably be a shorter stream tonight. Uh, didn't have that many stories, but the great thing is if you're watching, whether it's on YouTube, on Twitch, or on X, that's a great opportunity for you to join in on the fun. Um, I do like that like to make this as interactive as I can. I can highlight your quotes and your comments and stuff like that. Kind of like I said, welcome to everyone on YouTube uh, and on Twitch. For some reason, the chat does not go to X for some reason. So those that are on X watching tonight, I will see your posts, but I have to set this up a little bit weirdly because it's not, for whatever reason, it's not taking, and I just haven't investigated. Nobody else has on Bleacher Brothers, but anyways, hope everybody's having a good night out there. Me, I said in somebody's chat, right now it's my ADHD and my Polish heritage right now that's getting me all goofy right now. I said, give me 30 years, I'll start acting like Joe Biden. But 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 it is that one of those days where it's just like all of a sudden it's like, ah, you know, it was a good day so far, and just when I got back from the store, it's like, oh, I didn't print any stories. I couldn't find anything really that I really wanted to talk about, but I did find a couple of things that were interesting that I'm gonna mention here tonight, and and you'll see them on the stream here. Thom Brennaman has a new job. He's back in the working field. Um, some Olympic news that's a bit strange, um, and a lot more. So, hope everybody's doing well, and we'll get to it here in a couple of minutes. So, um, just to let you guys know, and I did share this last night, and I did it in passing near the end of the show. You might have to go to about an hour and 55 minutes into the show. It's right near the end, and I did tease that BBSN, the Bleacher Brothers Sports Network, is coming soon. It's going to be an online radio station. Did they call them radio stations if they're online? But anyways, um, that will be up soon. I don't know when, but when that happens, I'm probably going to go to that fourth night. I've been taking off on Wednesdays, but I will be back. I will be doing 4 nights a week on BBSN, um, probably 9 to 11, because AJ knows that work is first, and you know, and the incident the mouth trouble that I had last week, I just said well, Thursday was just I was in too much pain after working and talking 8 hours. Then then I had a um, then I called out of work Friday and Saturday. So, and like I said last night, I got to protect the nest egg. So, um, you know, you know, I don't want to tell some future girlfriend or wife that, oh, I lost X amount of dollars. Well, how'd you lose it? Oh, I was streaming when I was out sick. But, but basically, you know, my rule is with AJ is if I call out from work and it's a sick call out as opposed to just, hey, just give me an excuse day. If it's a sick day, no stream. So, but that's what happened last week. And, but, I'll be doing 4 nights a week. We'll be interactive, be even more interactive. And hopefully you get to join us as well. There's some things that we have to iron out first. So, um, maybe next month, maybe September, but it's coming, and so is Christmas. But and so is my birthday, which is in September, by the way. But we'll I'm getting excited that it's going to be coming soon to an app and a website near you because I think we're going to have an app as well. I think that's what we're going to do. It's just that it was all um, it's just that we're just in me personally because I'm not the type of person that's going to be stepping on anybody's toes. That's why I do horse racing articles. And by the way, the third race of the Cinnamoy Downs is coming up soon, and maybe I can get that trifecta home. I did my first trifecta on Quills Picks Winners this afternoon on Bleacher Brothers, and that was because got a heavy favorite here. I'm trying to make you guys some money. So try to take advantage of the 20-cent trifecta. I played it as a $2 try key. So when I update the spreadsheet tonight, I will have the opportunity to just multiply the win result times 10. So um, also Phillies are in game 2 at Minnesota. No score in the 7th. Phillies are in a funk right now offensively, and these things happen. And should I? I'm always worried. Even if the Phillies were up 25 games in the division, I'm worried. And why am I worried? Because all you have to do is Google 1964, 1964 Phillies. That's all you have to do. I think it was like a 7-game lead with 10 to go or something like that, and they end up losing to the Cardinals. And some people in Philadelphia still have the tickets from the 1964 World Series. They were mailed out because they were so far ahead, and everybody's thinking, "All right, we're going to the World Series. We're going to get revenge on the Yankees from 1950," and they blew it. And G Mock probably, if he did something like he did then in 2024, if he were still alive, he would have been run out of town after the season. But if you're not familiar with the 1964 Phillies, I recommend you look it up. Uh, so, um, you know, I'm a little worried about the Phillies, but you still have a big lead in the division right now. And from what I saw, um, they don't have any. Uh, we don't have any. Um, um, Whatever. My brain's fried. Mike and I had the day off today, and Mike is here, and he back doubles down on what I'm saying here. We're Phillies fans, of course we worry. And like I said before, I said to somebody in a Facebook group this week, I said, unless the Phillies magic number is 0 to win the division or clinch a wild card, I'm you know, I'm not I'm still gonna be in hope for the best, expect the worst mode. So so that will be the case here tonight. Um, so we do have that race coming up, and um, I did have a winner yesterday. The only problem is that horse got bet down from 6-1 to 4-5. What can you do with the horse getting scratched? It was the favorite, but I don't even know where my remote is. Oh, it's right here. So, so I had a little conundrum tonight. 15 minutes away from the next race at Assiniboia Downs, their race tonight. So I had a little conundrum today, or last night when I was done with the stream, and I was sitting there. I was sitting here, and I was like, well, do I do Assiniboia? Do I give everybody the finger again? And by the way, I did give you the finger for Monday's race, and I gave you a winner. Okay, so um, but seriously, so because the one thing I do is I try to use the free programs I can find wherever I can find them, and of course I'm debating right now if I want to do two articles tonight because Parks has a mandatory distribution on their pick five wager. It's a jackpot wager, which means you have to be the only winning ticket on most days. But tomorrow, you only need to get 5 out of 5, and you will get a piece of the pie. I'm trying to see something here before I continue on here. So, and a lot of times tracks will do it to attract more money, and it just gets to a point sometimes where you just have so much money carried over. It's just like we got to get rid of this money. So it's an opportunity to get more money, get more eyes on your track and stuff like that. So, but the reason why they're doing it tomorrow at Parks is that they go on their summer break. So, um, so they will have I think it's like a month break. They'll be back August 22nd, I believe, whatever that Saturday is, because I may be looking at that on also eligible on Saturday morning uh, in August when Parks comes back. Parks comes back. Actually, Parks comes back on the 19th, but Smarty Jones Day is the 24th. But I got to work that day. Oh well, because I think that's also Travers Day. And just to let you guys know, going into tomorrow's pick five, or as they call it, the Big Five, there's a carryover of $160,000, and you're probably going to get a couple $100,000 in the pool because some people will ignorantly think, "Hey, I'm going to get the whole thing." When you have a wager like this, you're probably going to be getting a little bit more than what you would get if this was a regular pick five. But it's you know, but it's not that large. That's actually one of the lower mandatory payouts that Parks has had, but it's all because they're going to be going on break for about a month, and this is something that they do every summer, and they definitely need it because they need to get the turf back in working order, so to speak, because they don't have, um, you know. I was watching a couple of the races today while I was doing other things here, and their turf course is basically shit brown right now. And it's shit brown because, for the most part, we've had long stretches without rain. And even the grass outside my apartment, there's a lot of brown spots out there. No, I did not poop myself out there. But, you know, it's just, it's just a dry summer here, and we did have rain last night here, but you need to have that rain, that 24-hour rainstorm, which we don't usually get this time of the year here, where the water will just sink to the roots and just get to the water table. So they pulled the races from the turf last week for the rest of this last couple of weeks. So, uh, but I may do that. I haven't looked at the program for parks. I can get that for free off of a Pennsylvania racing website. So, um, but just to let you know, with the Cinnaboy, there's a 5-horse field. The 6-horse got scratched. The favorite is 1-9, and rightfully so. And especially because it's basically a rerun of a maiden race 2 weeks ago. Because 4 of the 5 horses that are running in this race um, are running in the same race, and then the 2 horse who's getting some money at 11-1 is a first time starter. So, but anyways, um, and also I think my suspicions were right about the neighbor upstairs. Off on tangent upon tangent here at the start, and and as long as the stream is more than 50% sports, it's a sports stream. Um, Mike knows this from me complaining on Facebook, me telling him a few times. I have somebody directly above me, and you know, thankfully they haven't really played music this summer. Thank God, because I work a ton of weekends, and that's by design, so I can take days off during the week so I can potentially do things. But I think my suspicion is right, and the when they're walking around upstairs, a lot of times all I hear is bang, 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 bang. I mean, it sounds like Yokozuna is having sex with Roseanne Barr, or you know whatever. But my suspicions were true. As I came home from the store, came in the side door that Mike knows about, and as I was approaching the door, the 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 girl that's in the apartment directly above me was hanging out the window like she's in New York, and you know maybe going to do a Eddie Murphy "Hello, my neighbors." But my suspicions are correct. She's probably about 80 pounds soaking wet and has thunder hooves like you won't believe. So, so my suspicions are true unless it's somebody else, unless it's somebody else in that apartment who may be a little bit heavier. But even so, you know, I mean, I'm used to it. It's not like it's nonstop from 6:30 to 3 o'clock in the morning. I'll occasionally hear it at 2:30 in the morning as I'm going to sleep. I haven't lately, but um, you know, you just have to experience it. And it's kind of like the boy that cried wolf. It may get to the point here that I tell you guys that the assholes upstairs are banging their feet with their thunder hooves and stuff like that, and you'll be sitting here all day, all weekend, and be like, Joe, I haven't heard shit. So it does happen. So, um, but anyways, um, do have one update here on Bob Baffert before we get into that stuff here on the scroll here. And I had the article here. I don't know what I did with it. It was an article that I had planned to mention on Saturday's also eligible show on the Bleacher Brothers Network. Mike, just search Bleacher Brothers on Twitch. Um, I just wouldn't be able to be as interactive on that show as I am with this. But um, Bleacher Brothers. Bob Baffert, as you know, has been suspended from all Churchill Downs tracks for the last 3 years. His one horse that won the Derby got disqualified because of a dosage issue with a P test, and at least I think it was a P test. But either way, it was an ointment issue. It came up as a steroid, and the way that they test, it's like it's you would think with such a small sample of that uh, chemical drug, whatever, in the system that whatever. But they try to like they run, especially the big races now. They run these huge races and the graded stakes races, and most stakes races for that matter, drug free, Lasix free. So apparently, Bob Baffert has been a good boy over the last year because he had a 2 year suspension, and he got a third year because he got pissed off at Churchill Downs when he was on Fox, and he was saying something before the Belmont. So he got another year because he's not getting the point why he was suspended. But um, even though one of the owners that he trains for sued to get one of his horses in the Derby, that was uh, a move by the owner that Baffert didn't have anything to do with. Um, Baffert is back allowed to race at the Churchill Downs tracks. So he is now eligible to race at Churchill Downs. At Presque Isle Downs, though, I doubt he goes there at all. He can go to Colonial Downs. I don't think he has a turf horse that would be running in the Arlington Million in a couple weeks. He doesn't usually have that many turf horses, even though he did win a turf race at Del Mar last weekend. Um, you know, Ellis Park in Western Kentucky, though, he wouldn't go there because that's more. Um, Even though you still run for a lot of money there in Ellis, it's still um, it's just out in the middle of nowhere. Um, you know, that's the idea. So he's able to run at any of those CDI tracks now, and be interesting when September comes around. Because he won't go to Kentucky Downs because he doesn't have many turf horses. But when September comes around, be interesting to see what the initial reaction is of him being back on the grounds, or at least his horses back on the ground. Because I wouldn't be surprised at first, because you may have a couple of races that he may want to run horses in. He probably will run them and just say, you know, to his assistant, just go out there, make sure the horses are okay, or whatever his connections were. So, but he's back in the good graces of Churchill Downs, and he is able to run at any of those tracks. So, but um, so yeah, so that was news that I've been holding on only because um, this is more of some of the things I have tonight are more. Um, I mean, a couple of things I have here are recent stories, but um, you know, but it's more of an open forum here, and especially tonight, it's very open forumish. Um, Not the forum at 22nd and Market, that's no longer there, but um, but anything if you want to join in. Oop, hold on, just fixing one thing here. There we go. So, and especially on X, if you're watching on X, if you're paying attention on X, because I do see that most of my viewers right now are on X. Um, uh, no, it's not there anymore, Mike, and neither is the Art Holiday. I think that's. I mean, that building is still there, but I think they were using it for something else, but I forget what it was. Because whenever I pass by the Art Holiday, as Joe Conklin would say, where Frankfurt meets Kensington reluctantly, um, we you would see the top of the building, but you wouldn't see what's on the bottom. Uh, but yeah, and just to let you know, for those that are outside the city of Philadelphia, the Forum at 22nd and Market, I think it is, and the Art Holiday were porn theaters. And back when we had test calls, and I think this was I think Mike was still at Verizon at the time. Uh, and I think it was after I returned to being an operator. Um, and I'm probably giving too much information here, but um, somebody somebody was joking around, said, "Oh, I'm going to make a test call," because one of the former managers gave everybody the test number because the test scores were so bad. And um, even when I was a manager, I basically said, "Well, why don't we just tell them every call is a test call, even when it isn't?" But um, but the one thing I said to somebody, because we had to say a special phrase when somebody wanted a movie theater, and at that time where um, you still had all the different things going on. Um, you still had papers, newspapers. You still had this. You still had that. The internet isn't. It was improving, but it wasn't as crazy as it was um, as it is now, where everything is at your fingertips. Um, I said, call for the Art Holiday, and if you just say it, can I have the number for Art Holiday in Philadelphia? And you know, they will tell you that there was no residential listings for Art Holiday. And then you tell them, no, that's a movie theater. And mind you, you were going to get somebody anywhere in the footprint. I almost said where, Mike. I almost said the company, but I'm not going to. You know my rules, but um, it would just be a little fun game that we could play. So it was a um, so it was a fun little game that we could do, just to have some fun with some operators. Uh, hopefully, or actually, the test number line would go to our office. That's how it used to go. So, so if you were to dial 215-867-5309, it used to go into our call system, and you know, it would call as if you were calling the office, and you would get all the information. And you'd be like, I have no art holiday in Philadelphia. And it'd be like, no, 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 it's a movie theater. And then you have to say that special phrase, and if you deviated this much, you were in trouble. But, just some little things that we like to do every now and then. But then we got to a point where um, they might have even changed the number. I wrote the number down, but the thing is, when the calls are coming in like this, you know, you don't take note of the number, and you don't know the manager's home or cell phone number, because one would come up as the manager's number. But I think I'm in the statute. I think I'm beyond the statute of limitations on this, because this was back when we were in the old office in the early to mid 2000s. Um, back when I had hair on top of it. But um, but yeah, some things that we did to each other. as well. So, but race is about to go off here as Assiniboia Downs and also Mountaineer. Mountaineer we don't give a shit about. But I did give out on the article tonight. And I think that they do have. Um, yeah, it looks like they still have trifecta wagering on this race, and it's probably going to be a situation where a $2 ticket's probably not going to get me $12 back on the $12 wager that I gave out to you guys today. Because I was like, do I want to do this race? Do I not want to do this race? I had no idea, and then I looked at another site. I looked at Equibases, like, oh, Louisiana Downs. They don't start till 5 o'clock, and turns out they were off the turf, and Equibase gave a race on the turf. I'm like, I'm not doing that. I'm not going turf to dirt. So we stay with the Assiniboia here. And what we need here, if you're watching on FanDuel TV, is the one to win and the 2, 3, or 5 to finish second or third. So that's what we need here if we have a superfecta here. And the 2, who is a first time starter, went for the lead. The 1's got the rail. 6 is on the outside here. Oh, wait, that's Mountaineer. Sorry. Oh, dear Jesus. I need help. I thought the number was 8675309. Anyways, the reason why I was like, wait a second. I was like, well, the 2's in front, then you got the 1, and then you got the 6. I'm like, wait a second. The 6 is scratches the Assiniboia Downs. So, oops to me. So, um, and that's typical me. I don't look, I always goof up like that. But, um, so we'll get to the stories that I'm featuring here tonight. And I don't know how anybody feels about this. And, feel free to voice your opinion here because it is a safe haven. Um, say what you want. Um, you know, as long as it's within reason, I will allow you to say whatever you're saying about this story. So, Thom Brennaman is back behind the mic, not behind Big Mike, but behind the microphone, as he will be calling college football games on the CW. Now, I will tell you the background on this in a second. What? What'd I do? But anyways, before I get to the background and everything like this, the one thing I will say is you got to start back up somewhere, right? So in his case, you have to start at a start at a network where about 12 people will be watching outside of the 2 college towns, that sort of thing. So, you know, you got to start somewhere to get your luster back, so to speak. And I'm watching a race right now. We got the 3 on the lead here. The 2's on the outside. The 1's riding the rail. Looks like the 1's about to take over here along the rail. Maybe not. The 3 is really fighting here. They go into the stretch here. The 3 is in the lead, 1 second, 2's third, and that is a loser as the 3 draws off. Um, but the 1 had the same issue. It appeared had the same issue it had in the last start where it veered in. And if I'm not mistaken, I highlighted the 2 and I gave good words about the 3 because I think that was a trainer who was winning left and right and or is very good with second time starters. But anyways, Thom Brennaman, as you remember, he lost his job with the Cincinnati Reds and his national job with Fox Sports. Um, he's going to be returning with Next Stars CW network. If you remember, he had a hot mic episode where um, he said a homophobic slur, and I think you can find it on YouTube. I'm not going to play it, but he did say it, and you know, things happen. So, and sometimes you don't realize you say something, but I think what happened with the way that he said it, it was a situation where he did say it, he meant to say it, he just didn't realize the mic was live. And the one thing that you are taught, no matter where you go, is the microphone. Always treat the microphone as if it's live. So you don't want to tell anybody. I mean, you don't want to say anything like that because especially with what happened with Thom Brennaman, was he eventually. I mean, he lost his job with Fox Sports and he resigned from the Cincinnati Reds. And you know, and the one thing, and I'm sure when he first went into broadcasting many years ago, they told him the mic is always live. And I'm sure in Communications 101 or Broadcasting 101 or whatever, I'm pretty sure they tell you when you're on the mic, pretend it's always live because you prevent a situation like that. And not only did he not prevent that situation from happening, oops, he also gave Nick Castellanos the opportunity to hit a home run while he was giving his public apology for that hot mic moment. And just like on Sunday, you know, whenever there's big national news or world news that happens around the world, on Sunday it was Joe Biden announcing he was not going for a second term. Castellanos hit a double in the fourth inning, and I said on X that, oh, well, I guess this wasn't big enough news because Castellanos only got a double. Then in the ninth inning, boom, home run. So Castellanos has that knack for doing stuff like that. So now he didn't do anything when Trump got shot, but at least I don't think. But it just seems like he has that knack of doing stuff like that in moments that are being overshadowed by things like Thom Brennaman apologizing back in 2020. But um, so he's going to be calling Oregon State's home game against Idaho State. Now, if he calls somebody a hoe on Idaho State, I'm sure he's not going to have another job. Unless he says, Idaho State. But he's going to be calling the game part of the network's acquisition of the Pac-12/Pac-2 rights, Pac-12/Pac-2/Pack-It-In rights on August 31st, but will mostly work on the Raycom Sports produced ACC package. So that broke on Sunday, but with like all the different things I really wanted to talk about last night, I didn't get to this, but I was like, you know what, this may be something good to talk about because this is going to be a night of controversial news with different things like that. So, but you know, now the one thing is, does he deserve a second chance? Why not? You know, and it's not like he's going to be the number one guy at ESPN for SEC football. He's starting on CW with some random game from the Pac-2 Pack-It-In conference, which is actually playing in cooperation with the Mountain West this year. I don't know why they just moved the Mountain West and make Mountain West just a little bit better, but um, you do have um, you got a network where the CW isn't what it used to be. It's a bunch of nothingness. Uh, but you know, you have to start somewhere, and maybe he'll be calling Live Golf because I think Live Golf is on CW. But um, and like Mike says, he deserves another chance. And if he if you read if you if you find out some of the things that he was doing behind the scenes, and I said this about Michael Vick, you know, first of all, if you don't like that he got out of jail after 2 years, go after the lawyers that tried to prosecute him. That's who you go after. I mean, I didn't like the fact that he only got 2 years for killing dogs, but you know what? There's nothing I can do about it because it's over. Unless he kills another bunch of dogs and he gets a much harsher sentence, which he didn't, thank God. You know, he paid his price for what happened. He lost um uh one of the richest contracts at that time in the NFL, all because of the way that he was, way that uh, I'm trying to use the right words here. So if you're watching after the fact and you hear this come out wrong, it's not intended that way. A lot of people down south do dog fighting, so you know, so that does happen from time to time, and it even happens even in the inner city, but it's all mostly behind closed doors. It's kind of like a massage parlor. It's kind of like the massage parlor I want to run. I want to call it Tie Me Up, which will be a Thai restaurant, but the extra fun will be in the back. But, uh, but yeah, and like Mike said, if the behavior is consistent, and this is not just with um, Thom Brennaman, we can even bring up Trevor Bauer, even though there's different things with Trevor Bauer beyond the whole incident that he had a couple years ago. And by the way, I wish the Phillies would sign him just so I could see the smoking hot agent he has in Philly. Uh, but he's not coming here. He would destroy that locker room. But the thing is, if you're doing things the right way to make yourself a better person, to show that what you did is a mistake, you know, it, if you're okay with that, you know, and Mike brings up a good point here. It's why Pete Rose is not in the Hall of Fame. You know, if Pete Rose, after a year, said, you know what, I did bet on baseball, I'm sorry, blah, blah, blah. It took him 14 years to admit that he bet on baseball. And why did he? Why did Pete Rose admit that he bet on baseball? Because he was promoting a book. He promoted a book, and the interview, I think it was on 2020 on um, 2020 on ABC. It might have been another network, another show. He's promoting the book, and he admitted it. And Mike agrees with me. And Mike, you don't have to agree with me, by the way. You know that that's the rule that we have, even though you do agree with me and we think too much alike. Um, so, um, so, so Thom Brennaman got support from the article from Andrew Marchand, who uh, broke the news that he got the job with CW. Bob Costas gave support, and Outsports Sid Sigler, who wrote his own piece on this, and more. So, and as you can see, that's our little inside game, inside jokes that we have, Mr. Cranium and all that stuff. So if you see that in the chat on Twitch, you know, it's it's just fun banter that we have. Um, So Brennaman told The Athletic, "There's no words to describe how grateful I am they're rolling the dice. They did not have to do this." Bob Costas said, "Neither Tom nor anyone else denies that he had a serious misstep." And I think with the apology that he had on the live telecast was a bit wonky, to say the least. Um, I think it was a combination of embarrassment, uh, you know, and you could say he's only apologizing because, um, you could only say he was apologizing because he got caught. But either way, he did say he did apologize, and you know, and it's just that I learned this from sport management at Drexel. Whenever there's something going on in your organization, you meet it head on and you have a press conference or whatever you have to do. The fact that it lingers for 2, 3, 4 days, that does not look good on your organization, your school, your team, whatever. So even though it was like a couple innings later, I believe, it was just, it's kind of like, it'd be kind of like me saying something and a couple innings later, it's like, do you know you just said blank, whatever slur or whatever, and you know, or you take the Thom Brennaman case where he had a hot mic, it's like, oh shit, there goes my career, and especially when we're in this world where we're in this world where everybody gets canceled for something. Um, but you know, and like Bob Costa said, um, no one denies that he had a serious misstep. And I will tell you, when if I were to do an interview with somebody, if I had a business or I was a manager or I was the hiring manager, and let's say I found their Twitter or X, whatever you want to call it this week, and let's say, you know, there's something homophobic on there or racist or whatever whatever that would you would put a mental flag on. It's like, why am I hiring this guy or woman? Because, like I said before, I don't give a shit if you're white or black or anything else, or I don't care if you're male or female. Just be the best person for the damn job. I don't care. So, um, now Casas continued, a misstep for which some consequence would have been appropriate, but the price he has paid is beyond disproportionate, especially when you consider he had a fine reputation prior to the incident and took every proper step to make amends subsequent to it. His return to the booth is overdue, and I'm sure the audience will be happy to hear his voice again. Okay. And, you know, I think it's more than just, oh, I'm sorry, you get fired, and then you come back, you know. And you'll hear some of the things that they did here. Sid Sigler, who's part of Outsports, um, he said, I pumped my fist in the air and I said, finally, somebody gave this guy a chance that he deserved. I'm so proud of the CW. So when this occurred on August 19, 2020, during the COVID season, Brennaman quickly was pulled from Fox NFL broadcast, and he was like the number 2 guy, I believe. So it wasn't like he was the 6th or 7th guy, and he wasn't always being used every week. He was the number 2 guy. He was calling playoff games, and now, and rightfully so. You gotta. Yeah, you got to pull him, even if it is a temporary thing or a permanent thing, like Fox did. But he took criticism for the initial apology, showing the ignorance of the way the slur had been used, and he took time off the air with the Reds and met with LGBTQ plus broadcasters and activists, then officially resigned his role in September of that year. So, um, now what he did, and and this, and the thing is, I don't have any access to Cincinnati media, so I don't know how much information was available in the um, I don't know how much information was available. Um, Jim in the Country on X, thank you for liking that alert that I was live tonight. I have my phone next to me and I keep it for the alerts. Um, but like yesterday, I had Spoon. Um, uh, I forget his real first name off the top of my head. He works at a radio station a TV station in the Midwest. He was part of our free for all crew. He was occasionally on the show. I was occasionally on the free for all show on Twitch. Um, yeah, he reposted my show alert yesterday. So I appreciate everybody, even on X, who even is doing something as little as a like or a repost or a retweet, as I call it. You know, because you got to get eyes somehow, and I do appreciate that Jim did that. So, um, so what he did, he continued to reach out to the LGBTQ plus community in Cincinnati and nationally. Now, I don't even know if he actually did anything, if it got out to the media over the last couple of years. And it's just like when Michael Vick was with the Eagles. He went to the schools and say, "Hey, you know, this is the bad part about dogfighting, blah blah blah. Don't do it, stuff like that." But what Michael Vick made sure of was that the media was not around, because the worst thing you can do is have the media around telling you Michael Vick is at this school in the inner city. He's at this school in West Philadelphia. He's in this school in North Philly. He's in Germantown at this school. It turns into it doesn't look good, because it's like you're doing it for the cameras. And Michael Vick, he mostly did it without the cameras, because that's how he felt he could pay back to the community. And you can criticize him for killing those dogs. I personally say criticize the prosecution in that case. Um, you know, that's what I say, because there's nothing you can do about what he did. He paid his price, no matter how lenient you felt or how significant it was. But um, what Brennaman did say was mainly about listening to the people. Um, so and I guess he had heart to heart talks. And I remember when the Sean Jackson a couple years ago, he had some anti-Semitic slurs in a video or whatever. I don't know what it was, but I know it was the case. Um, and I really got to appreciate Julian Edelman even more. And he just said, "Let's just talk man to man. You know, iron things out. You can understand my point of view when you say something like this. I can understand what you're thinking. We can talk it out, and you can see how it affects somebody and stuff like that." So, but Julian Edelman was a professional with that, and that's probably what Thom Brennaman did in his case because with him, you know, I think did he probably use that whatever homophobic slur a lot? I mean, I would say yes if it came out so freely, not IP freely, but I just think you have to get back on your feet somehow. And now he had been doing remote broadcasting for the Roberto Clemente League in Puerto Rico, kind of like the way that kind of like they had remote broadcasting of the Korean Baseball League in 2020 when we had nothing on TV other than horse racing from Will Rogers Downs and Fawner Park and Oaklawn, just those three tracks it seemed. But um, and he was also doing a daily show for Chatterbox Sports. So little by little, you know, I don't know how much he was getting paid for that or anything like that, but he got to do some things here and there. But he's now back on the mainstream. Even though you say, what channel is CW? It's kind of like True TV when the NCAA tournament starts, but it's without the because somebody who said something that got himself into trouble. True TV, it's every year. It's like, what channel is that on my cable box again? Oh wait, not many people have cable boxes anymore, right? Because they cut the cord. But um, so he also said, all I can do is what I've tried to do over the past 2 years, and that's learn and grow from the ignorant word that I use in a flippant sort of way. And really, through my experiences and time with people in the gay community, I've learned a great deal. So he also says, all you can do is the best you can do, and I've done that for 2 years. I've continued to learn and grow. I'm a better man today than the guy who sat up there in August of 2020. And I'd be a better broadcaster today than I was in August 2020 because of this whole experience and the whole journey. All I can do is ask people for forgiveness and a little bit of grace and a second chance. So he's getting that second chance finally. And you know, I don't have a problem with it. It's just that he's going to be on some third rate, fourth rate, fifth rate network that's going to have ACC games that are going to be the bottom feeders probably most weeks. But you have to start somewhere. But he's back, and maybe he ends up going from there to back to Fox or NBC. I mean, you do have different things going on with you know with Warner Brothers Discovery matching the Amazon offer for NBA, which will make things interesting. Amazon is getting into the NBA in 25-26. You're going to have a game a night on national TV on a whole array of networks every night or day, depending on what time the game starts, because I imagine you may see some Sunday games during the day. So I imagine with Thom Brennaman, you have to get back somewhere, and you know, he, you know, he deserves a second chance, and you know, and it appears that everything he's done was, um, I think that he'd be fine. Um, do you think he will team up with Troy Aikman? No, no, because Troy Aikman's on ESPN. Joe Buck and Troy are a package deal, and I wouldn't be surprised if one retires, the other one does with him. Um, but and Joe Buck was on John Clark's podcast through NBC Sports this week or last week. So even though I've been listening to basically my main three or four podcasts during the day when I'm not streaming, I do have a you know I I could probably watch and see what he said the whole podcast, but it was interesting. Um, and And the way Joe Buck is, it's like he gets it. A lot of the stuff that he does, it's everybody criticizes Joe Buck because oh, he's rooting against my team. Now, I will tell you as a Philadelphia sports fan, we used to have Gene Hart, we used to have Harry Callis, we used to have Mark Zumoff, we used to have Jim Barniak, the latter two with the Sixers. The one thing is, your local sports broadcasters are paid to be homers. And um, so is the case with Merrill Reese, who's uh, beyond sterile. He's been with the Eagles, I think, over 50 years. He's going into the NFL Hall of Fame in a couple of weeks. Um, but you really have to, you have to understand Joe Buck. I don't have a problem with Joe Buck. I just say it's just the timing of the game and the excitement of the game more than it's rooting against your team. And a lot of cities will say that because a lot of cities teams fans, I should say, will say that because you know it's just a lot of fans are conditioned to hearing their local broadcasters root for their home team. And and that's the great thing here. Mike's here and he's agreeing with me on a lot of things here, and he brought up a good question there. um but I think Thom Brennaman would be the type of person that I think what may happen, and I don't have any names, and if you watch any of my shows, um I don't have any insiders. I'm an outsider, and I'll give you speculation. If my speculation is right, then it's just strictly coincidence. And trust me, Mike has been there many a times where I pulled a 30-1 shot, 50-1 shot out of my ass. It's like, where'd you get this from? I don't know. But um, I think Thom Brennaman will probably work with somebody young. And Mike agrees with my sentiment about, pulling things out of my ass that happen to be true. I'm not going to mention names because I don't know any names that would be on that CW network, whether it be doing the Pack It In conference or the ACC bottom feeders. Um, but I imagine, I imagine it's going to be him and probably some color analyst who really doesn't is fairly new into the business. Let's just say. So that's what I would think they will do, because you may get a ton of eyes on August 31st. I might even be watching it. Who knows? Um, Considering it's a West Coast game, it probably starts at a minimum of 3:30 in the afternoon Eastern time. So uh, Moose Johnston, he's on Fox as well. Um, so I would think it would be like, all right, I'm going to bring a name up here. It's not going to happen, but the guy's been calling games for a while. He's back doing games every once in a while, but I'm just throwing this name up because this is the first name that came to my head, and it's only because um, even though I didn't watch today, and I don't necessarily watch the show, but the ads come up on the side of the page on the scroll. Um, like I wouldn't be surprised if it's like um, Mike Golick because he does his show with his son on the DraftKings network. I wouldn't be surprised if it's somebody like that that doesn't really have an affiliation with any of the major sports networks because because the ACC network is an ESPN production. CW is not. So, and they just get what's left of the ACC pie. So, um, and and for those that are watching this well after the fact, I do not have any inside information. So if it happens that August 31st comes around and you see Mike Golick or Mike Golick Jr. calling the game, it is just strictly coincidence. Because I don't know. I'm just spitballing. But um, so it's just he gets a second chance, and I'm sure some people once this goes on the Bleacher Brothers Sports Network soon, I'm sure the chat will say, "Well, what about Trevor Bauer?" Well, Trevor Bauer apparently can be a real a-hole in the locker room, you know, and they'll say Colin Kaepernick as well. And I take a different stance on Colin Kaepernick. I just say that he quit on the team when he could have won everybody's um, backing if he just stayed with the Niners and forced them to cut him because you could have made it look like. But that's something 8 years ago. We won't get into that. Um, but the Phillies got a rally going here in the ninth here. First and second, 2 outs. I can't see the screen because my glasses are off. Oh wait, wrong way. Uh, 3-1, 1 out in the ninth. So Phillies got a ball four. Bases are loaded against the closer Duran, and Phillies are in a funk right now. I'm not that worried about, but yeah, I'm worried. It's just that they haven't been firing like they have been in the first half of the year, and it just happens in baseball. It's 162 games, so. But got some Olympic stories here, and first one is a bit of a goofy one that I did not print up. Um, I saw tonight. Well, I actually saw it earlier today. I think I initially saw it yesterday on whatever TV show I was watching, and like I said yesterday on my show, when I sat here, I was like, "What the hell happened to the Brickyard 400?" Well, they moved to USA because of the whole Joe Biden stuff. Uh, but um, they are going to allow and there's a sacrifice fly, and the Phillies lead 1-0 in the ninth. And the shortstop tumbles catching the ball when he takes the throw as the cutoff man. But anyways, um, Snoop Dogg will be doing a leg on with the torch outside of Paris as the Olympics approach. And one thing I do want to say as well, because um, uh, I did see this today, and I told you guys yesterday, I had no idea if if the opening ceremony would be tape delayed or not. Um, Now I don't know if Mike has Comcast or not or anything like that, but if he does, um, the one thing is with Comcast that they do with their cable box is if you turn the TV on and just the TV with the TV remote, like I do from time to time, so I can, watch um, the Samsung online TV channels, or I want to watch Apple TV Plus. And yeah, I sat last night before I went to bed. I was like, you know what? I want to really watch that Napoleon movie, but um, um, so I can confirm. Okay, Mike does have Comcast you know, because the one thing is everybody's cutting the cord, have been for years, and I'll tell you right now, I would as well. Um, it's just it's trying to figure all this stuff out, and because my Netflix is connected to my Comcast account, my my Max is connected with that. It's trying to figure out all these different things, and then you have to be like, well, I don't have. Well, what? And you go in there and you want to watch. the final season of the Karate Kid series, Cobra Kai. You want to watch that final season of Cobra Kai? I have to watch all of it. I mean, I watched the first season a couple of times, most of it, but I watched part of the first season, and then I don't go back to it. But if you get to, uh, and there's a line drive into the corner, 2 runs will score, and ladies and gentlemen, Small Dick Nick has come through, and if you're wondering, no, I do not know, nor do I care what Nick Castellanos' size is down there. It's just a play on words of our hero, Nick Foles, aka Big Dick Nick, because you know, but I think it was one of the defensive players said, "Man, Nick Foles has the biggest dick I've ever seen on a white guy," and and it's just a play on words because Nick Castellanos the last 2 years has come up very small in the postseason. He had that NLDS where he hit home runs left and right off the Braves, and he hit one in the first game against Arizona, and then he didn't do shit. That's why I call him Small Dick Nick, because he comes up small at the wrong times. You know, maybe we need to feed him Viagra in October. But but I did see when you have that situation where you have the TV on and you turn the TV on with your TV remote, but you don't have the cable box on, the cable box is kind of like a sleep mode. And Mike may know what I'm talking about. And if he doesn't know what I'm talking about, that's fine. I'm not going to hold it against you this time. Um, you get a screensaver, well, essentially a screensaver, and it will tell you different things. It has a couple of uh, screensavers where they're showing nature pics of something in the Netherlands, or you're seeing something from you know a guy taking a shit in the woods in Bumblefuck Egypt or whatever. But you get the idea. So you get this rotating thing, and the first thing I saw when I turned on the TV tonight, because I didn't have the TV on at all today. I was watching Races from Parks, but I was watching on the computer while I was working on stuff on this other computer. So Mike knows what I mean as well. And that's basically the box is getting power, but you're not watching any of their channels. So I ended up seeing that. And the first thing I see, the opening ceremony will be live at 1:30 on Friday. So if you were watching last night's show, it will be live. Now, the question I have is it actually on NBC, or is it going to be on the Cock, aka Peacock? So either way, it's going to be live. I just don't know how they're going to show it. It's going to be on there, and while I'm working, I will be coming up with some jokes, like I always do. Like, for example, the Team Finland should be coming in 2 lines into the arena, or the staging area at the River Seine. You know, and you got to honor Jimmy Buffett since he passed away recently. Fins to the left, fins to the right. But that's some of the jokes that you're going to see from me, especially on X on Friday. Um, while between calls, if I can get those jokes out in a timely manner, because there's something worse than a joke that's in a timely manner, or is uh, the Snoop Dogg joke was funny. Um, was that the one I posted on Facebook today? Because I did say on Facebook today that um, and I'm just getting the exact words here. Who thinks Snoop will light up a gigantic blunt from the Olympic torch? I don't think he'll do it, but uh, and Mike agrees with me because I'm like, and I'm thinking, I didn't tell a joke about Snoop Dogg in here. I'm talking about it, but I wouldn't. I don't think he would do that. I think the Olympic Committee would beat the living shit out of him if he tried to do that. But and who knows? I mean, I don't know what the marijuana rules are in France as well. I mean, he might even get arrested, but he's going to be uh, part of the um, running of the torch as it approaches France. I think it's going to be in Saint Etienne, wherever that is in relation to Paris. So keep an eye on that. But hopefully, I will be there. I will be here. I won't be in France. I'll be here. I'll be here, and hopefully, I'll be joking around. Now, the one thing is, as we move on to the next topic here, because it was like because it was like 9 o'clock, and I'm watching somebody else's stream, and I'm highlighting my points here tonight. Um, and I just put on their strange Olympic news. Um, now, Canada may be in some trouble. I don't know if it be just individually or the whole team, but the New Zealand Olympic Committee says its women's soccer team had its practice session disrupted by a drone flown by a staff member of the Canadian team it will face in Group A on Thursday. So, New Zealand Olympic Committee said on July 22nd, which was yesterday, a drone was flown over New Zealand women's football. Uh, Let me know if you still hear me, Mike. My microphone changed on me here because I didn't. Let me just see here. Okay, because I got an alert on my screen here. That's what it was. So, and it just making sure here. Um, so the Olympic Committee says its women's soccer team had its practice session disrupted by a drone. Uh, okay, I'm getting things confused here with towns. So Snoop Dogg is going to be in a suburban town, but not necessarily Saint Etienne. Um, New Zealand's football practice or soccer was in Saint Etienne, so I may have been confusing things. The team support members immediately reported the incident to police, leading to the drone operator, who's been identified as support staff member of the wider Canadian women's football team, to be detained. So I don't know if she's related to Bill Belichick. I don't know if it's Bill Belichick's girlfriend, but somebody decided to run a drone over the practice in a Belichickian way. Canada said that a non-accredited member of the Canada soccer support team was the person detained. So probably somebody that's very low in the totem pole probably did something and probably went rogue. So that's what it sounds like here. And the Canadians did say, we offer heartfelt apologies. We stand for fair play, and we are shocked and disappointed. We apologize to New Zealand and all the players affected, and to the New Zealand Olympic Committee. So, you can scout teams. You just can't scout their practices, and especially with a drone like that. I mean, that's something that Bill Belichick would have done in his glory years with the New England Patriots, but it's not anything that um, um, not anything that you would expect in the Olympics, especially something like that. Do have some baseball news here as we're 2 outs in the ninth here. Phillies up 3-0. Um, Mike Trout. Um, he was on a rehab assignment in Salt Lake City. Well, he lasted 2 innings in his first rehab start and left Tuesday night with soreness on his surgically repaired knee. So the plan was to play 5 innings in the first game, be the designated hitter on Wednesday, and hopefully be ready to play 7 innings in the field on Thursday. Well, back to the drawing board with him right now. So, that's something that just came up on ESPN within the last 10 minutes. So, trying to see here. Um, Now, here's a strange story, and I don't have all the details of it, but it's enough of a situation where an athlete was removed from the Olympic team this week. And 2-2 pitch from Strom. Strike three, Phillies win 3-0. Yay. Hooray. And we will see you in Minnesota tomorrow afternoon, a little after 12 Central Time. So, one of the most decorated members of the Great Britain Olympic delegation has withdrawn from the 2024 Paris Olympics. Yeah, good luck if you're covering the Paris Paralympics because you'll be like, but you know, I'm sure if I was a announcer for the Paralympics, I probably would be doing that. But now it's following an equine abuse investigation, and no, Mike. After I tell you, um, I doubt that it is. Well, at least I don't think uh, somebody having done the deed with the horse. Hi, Matt Damon. um, Equestrian athlete Charlotte Desjardins, a three-time Olympic gold medalist in dressage, announced the news Tuesday after a video she said from 4 years ago surfaced and showed her acting completely out of character. The International Federation for Equestrian Sports investigation resulted in a 6-month suspension. Uh, and all they said was she engaged in conduct contrary to the principles of horse welfare. So get your minds out of the gutter, people. I don't think it's that, but she did something that um, got her banned from the Olympics and banned for 6 months from the whole equestrian world. Um, the footage was allegedly taken several years ago during a training session conducted by Miss Desjardins at a private stable. It does. Desjardins said in an incident, does not reflect how I train my horses or coach my pupils. However, there's no excuse. I'm deeply ashamed and could have set back better example at the moment. I'm sincerely sorry for my actions and devastated, and I've let everybody down, including Team Great Britain fans and sponsors. Um, Now, she did cooperate with the investigation, so it wasn't like I don't know what you're talking about, and then it's like, well, try to explain this video, because the worst thing is if you're not cooperating with the investigation and you had the burden of proof and like, well, explain this video then. If you're not cooperating with the investigation, that 6 month that 6 month suspension would have been 6 years, lifetime. But you know, you'll get a little bit less if you cooperate in the investigation. Now you may get a lifetime ban, but at least you cooperated. You know, you do the ethical thing. Um, So I don't know what happened here, And I even quickly was looking there. I'm going to scan the article as I'm talking to you here. Look to see if they describe this. And I'm not going from one sports site to another. If I can't find it on this ESPN article, I'm not gonna. Let's see, 6 months. Um, it just says mistreating a horse before the Tokyo Olympics. Um, uh, okay, so I think it's probably something happened there. I haven't seen the video, nor am I going to try to look for the video, but something happened, and I think if those that had their mind in the gutter are right, she would have gotten a lot more than 6 months. She would have been banned. But I think it was probably, you know, unnecessary whipping of a horse or something like that. So I think that's what it was. Um, Let me get rid of some of these tabs here. I do want to show you one thing here that I saw today. I saw it from the Twitter account of um, the Parks track announcer, um, Jessica Paquette. She's a horse racing person on top of just doing the races. Um, Let me find this video. Profile, and I'm going to share the screen in a moment. I just got to find this here because I want to. Um, uh, and I apologize because this is great. Oh, I know what it is. It's not there. It's bookmarks. All right, so I got to do it this way, and I apologize. And what I'm trying to do here is I'm trying to pull this without. Let me go. Okay, so what I'm going to show you is something that happened in horse racing. This race was a couple of weeks ago, and I'm trying to. There we go. So I'm going to share my screen here, and hopefully you'll still be able to hear me. Um, if the video has sound, I'm not trying to play the sound of that. I'm just making sure that you guys can still hear me. So sometimes we talk about the penalties that are too severe and those that are not severe enough. No, not that one. Uh, and it's originally found through. It was originally posted on the Pollock Report, Paulick. It's a horse racing website that Ray Pollock writes. He's a writer and other things as well. He is the owner of the Pollock Report. He calls himself. Uh, he said he's blocked by Bob Baffert, and for news tips, he leaves his number and blah blah blah. So he has a article on his must have an article series, kind of like I have my article um on um my article on Bleacher Brothers Quills picks winners. So this is an article that they posted on his site Pollock Report, and watch the horse on the inside, which is wearing the yellow cap and the um, yellow um, jockey uniform, or you know jockey silks. That's what I'm looking for. So watch some of the actions here, and you'll be able to watch it a couple of times here because they review it a couple of times, because this is basically the head on of the race. And um, the four's on the lead. He wins the race, but he's disqualified. But watch what happens. Actually, let me do this. There we go. So this was at Mountaineer Park in Chester, West Virginia. It's right on the uh, right in that small area of land between Pennsylvania and Ohio. Uh, here we go. Here's what happened on this race here. Whoops. Um, hold on. There we go. So as you see there, he goes to the left. He goes to the right. He whacks the horse in the head twice and gives the jockey an elbow. Watch it again. Whack, right on the head. Elbow, elbow. I think he'll show it one more time. If not, I'll. Here you go. On the hind side. Gets closer. Pulls the horse out. Whack, right in the head. And then he's elbowing the jockey. And now the horse did get disqualified, obviously, um, because of the jockey's um, his actions on that ride, which were very dangerous. There was a race at Parks pre-pandemic, I would say around 2015. The two jockeys actually had a fight down the backstretch, which it's funny as hell when you watch it, but it's also you realize how dangerous it was. But um, I will ask Mike, and if anybody's watching on X as well, if you don't know, if you don't know how many days he got this jockey, take a guess, especially Mike. Give me a guess how many days he got for that, or months, or how long you think the suspension was. Those on X that are watching that you do know uh, about the how many what his suspension was. If you know the suspension, please don't ruin it for the others. Um, is that what slapping the horseshit out of someone looks like? Yeah, sometimes. Um, Mike went low. Mike said 3 days. Now, you got to understand the horse racing industry with everything that's going on. Um, with all the safety measures that are in place and stuff like that. Um, I think Jessica Paquette, who was the one who I saw this video from originally. Um, Yuri Uranga, and I hope I pronounced it right. He was aboard the horse on the inside, Yo-Yo Man, who got disqualified. He got 10 days for that, which is actually a 7-day suspension, because the 10 days work around 7 days that he would be riding at Mountaineer Park, he could have been suspended for months, could have been banned off the grounds for that, but he only got 10 days for that. And Ray Pollock says here in his post here, and I'm going to share this here so that Mike can read it. Um, Even though I'm going to add it for those that are watching after the fact. Um, Boom. Whoop, sorry about that. Wrong one. Ray Pollock said, West Virginia's weak-kneed steward suspend a jockey 10 days for whipping a rival horse in the face and elbowing a fellow rider. 10 days? Really? And it has the article there as well. But I see something like that. That could have been grounds to kick him out of the Mountaineer jockey colony for something like that. That is something. Um, that is definitely something that um, could have been uh, done. Could have been a lot worse. And the worst part about it is he could have. Um, um, he could have. He got 10 days, but as I was sitting here right now talking to you, I remember of another incident that happened at Delaware Park back in 2008, and I remember this was in the Inquirer a couple days later. Jeremy Rose, who rode a Fleet Alex to the Preakness and Belmont wins, um, he had a whip incident where he whipped a horse in the head. Um, it was the horse that he was riding. He whipped the horse, appealed to the city in the head during a June 23rd, 2008 race at Delaware Park. Um, Rose, the horse's trainer and the owner, all asserted it was an accident. He got, and I don't know the end result of any appeal or anything like that, but on Wikipedia, for whipping his own horse, and I think it was because he was pissed off that the horse finished way back in the race or whatever the horse was doing that annoyed him. Jeremy Rose got 6 months, and that was when we were less worried about the 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 safety of the horses and the safety of the jockeys and the safety of everyone. Jeremy Rose got 6 months. This guy got 10 days. And I don't have video of Jeremy Rose, so of that incident. So, but the horse did have injuries as well. I don't think this horse had any injuries because it didn't. It was that he hit like the middle of the head as opposed to the eyes. Because I think that horse had an eye injury as a result. But either way, it's just that you know I think it's really a sad thing that somebody only got 10 days for something when there was purpose. And even if we take Jeremy Rose's word from 2008, now I don't know. I mean that I found that note on his Wikipedia, so I didn't go looking for any articles. But he got 6 months. So I agree with Ray Pollock. That was definitely weak need, as he said. And but the worst part is you've already you've already punished him. So you can't do double jeopardy. I mean, if you do go back, it's double jeopardy, blah blah blah. Good luck. I'll see you in court. But that was definitely something that was uncalled for, and it was something I saw earlier today when I was on, doing my different things here, and I don't think Mike has been in here since I got the the monitor stand that I have where I can have two monitors at once at the same time. Almost like two chicks at the same time, but it's not as fun as two chicks at the same time. But um but you do have but that was definitely something that even I didn't even read the article. I don't even need to read the article. I'm like, only 10 days? That's something that should be banning the jockey from the track there in West Virginia. But he only got 10 days somehow. Um so as we're winding down here on this Tuesday night, just a reminder, no show tomorrow. We'll be back on Thursday. Wednesdays will be coming up soon. And like I said on Monday, the punishment does not fit the crime. I agree. I mean, this is like giving somebody, it's like giving somebody 2 minutes in the penalty box for attempted murder or actually murdering somebody. But, I mean, I know we're comparing hockey to actual a major crime like murder, but you get the idea. But, um, so no stream tomorrow. I get a night off. I'll be doing a couple of things. Then we'll be back here on Thursday on YouTube, on Twitch, and on X. Um, and also eligible will be back this Saturday. Um, I had to be scratched last Saturday because of the mouth issue. Um, had to get an emergency root canal, but I'm back, and we are going to look at the Jim Dandy. I don't have my notes here from. Uh, I don't have my notes here, but my plan was over the next couple of weeks, and I can't do it this Saturday, even though I'm off. Um, you know what? Let me grab my notes here. 1 second. And for the second time, I get to use the "Be Right Back" banner. Here we go. Um, yeah. So what I did was I made notes here, and I started making notes of the Saturdays that I'm off between now and the beginning of September, because one of the things that we've been discussing, and this is definitely something that AJ and I will be looking into in November for the Breeders' Cup, because I think there is a possibility that I will be live from the Bleacher Brothers home studio, from the home office in Fort Lickertail, Florida, or wherever it is in the Miami area. Um, so what I was thinking about doing is a sidecast of some of the big races that would be coming up on Saturdays. Uh, like for example, this Saturday, which I'm unavailable to do despite being off because I have a get together with the guys from my high school. Um, for example, I wrote down here for on this first page here all the stuff here, and good luck reading my handwriting. Um, this Saturday is the Jim Dandy and the Vanderbilt Handicap from Saratoga. Del Mar has the Bing Crosby Handicap, the Bing Crosby Stakes, the San Diego Handicap, and the Daisy Cutter Handicap. Um, so you had 5 races there, and it was just like depending on how they card the races, maybe you get lucky and you have all the races at the same time. But with the fact that Del Mar doesn't start till 5 o'clock, I doubt that they would have um, a race that late, that early in the card. So it's like, I'm not going to do it. So and this is just something that I'm just spitballing, and it may end up being it's something I do on my end. It may be something I do on the Bleacher Brothers end, and it may just be me flying solo, just talking horse racing. Um, there's three different tracks that I highlighted for August the 10th when I'm off. Saratoga has three different races: the Four-Star Dave, the Saratoga Special, the Galway. Del Mar has the Yellow Ribbon and the Sorrento. Colonial Downs in Virginia, they had the Arlington Million. They took over the Arlington Million when um, Arlington Park closed. They they took over the Arlington Million after stopping in Churchill Downs for a year. So that may be the first one. I mean, the thing is with Bleacher Brothers, it's do whatever, just make it work. I still like to fly things by everybody. Just say, hey, what do you think about this? But it would just be something that we can do there. It may fall into uh, the uh, round two of no of also eligible on that day, where I do it live that day. So that's an option. The 17th of August, you have the Alabama, which is a big 3-year-old filly race, which the leading 3-year-old male or female, Torpedo Anna, she may be running in that, or she may be running the following Saturday while I'm working in the Travers. You got Del Mar Oaks at Del Mar, and you got the King's Plate at Woodbine, which is the start of the Canadian Triple Crown. So you have those big races. And that's all I wrote. But we're off the 31st, and I did not look into that. Um, so you get an idea of what I want to do, and it's just a little something just to have fun with the Bleacher Brothers crew. I'm sure I'd be okay with it, and the one thing is, it's just like, hey, just let me know how I could do it better, once we do a show. And it may not ever happen because, I may get sidetracked on August 10th and never get a chance to start streaming that day. So, but, you know, give an alternate broadcast without actually showing the video because, the right to written consent, that thing that the legalese that they tell you on games and stuff like that, you can't actually show the game or the race live, but you can talk about it and stuff like that. So, but that is something that I may be doing on my own, but we'll see. Um, so I apologize for yawning as well. So we'll be back Thursday, 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific, and then we will do it live Saturday morning at 10 a.m. I think friend of Bleacher Brothers are Manny Moda. Uh, at least I called him on the first show, the Manny Moda pinch hitting for AJ. His name's Frank. He may be on the show. I'll send a text out tomorrow. Um, Frank actually gave out winners in two of the three races 2 weeks ago. I gave out, but it happens. But um, check out Bleacher Brothers for all your sports needs. We're definitely going to look at the race from Saratoga, and if I don't get too sidetracked, I may even do the pick five at Parks again because it's a mandatory payout and free program. So, uh, and like I said yesterday, if it's free, it's for me. And if it's behind a glass like it is at Target, you can kiss my ass. But anyways, do want to thank everybody for joining me tonight. And I've gone longer than I expected. I thought this would be like a 75-minute show. We're at an hour and 51 minutes here tonight. So everybody who's watching tonight, thank you so much. Mike, thank you for joining me. Also, thank you so much those who are going to be watching after the fact because this is more than just a live show. Um, I I the initial intent of my podcasts and streams and stuff like that is so that people can watch after the fact. So I do appreciate everybody, and we'll do it live Thursday at 9 o'clock for another edition of the Joe Quill Show, which is part of Bleacher Brothers. Go to bleacherbrothers.com for all your sports needs and a look at some races around the country. So tomorrow will definitely be Saratoga, and we may get a couple of races from Parks as they close out the spring summer portion of their winter spring portion of their schedule with 12 races on tap. So it'll be races 9 through 12. So thanks everybody for joining me, and I'll catch you Thursday night right here on Twitch, X, and YouTube at Joe Quills. Good night, everybody.